last years I worked a lot in Southeast Asia. I started my project New Burma's Shadows in early 2012. As Burma reformed and the government changed in 2011, there were big news coming from the country. This got my attention and I was wondering what is actually going on there. So I decided to go and investigate what the actual situation is like. So beginning of 2012, I made my first trip to Karen state, which lies in the very south of the country bordering Thailand. In that region, there's an ethnic conflict going on for more than 60 years between the Burmese army and the ethnic group of the Karen people. And that conflict makes hundreds of thousands flee their homes and seek shelter in really overcrowded refugee camps in Thailand. On this picture you see a soldier of the Karen rebels, and I remember him pretty well because he was a young guy, maybe my age, maybe even younger. He told me his name was Lucky. When I asked him if he experienced a lot of fighting, if he was involved in a lot of fighting, he told me that he already killed more than 100 people with his gun. So that was a pretty hard moment. It's a very rural area. It's pretty poor. Also, the army is pretty poor equipped. They have this massive refugee problem there. Even though in the last years the fighting actually stopped, so there's no actual fighting going on, but the tensions are still high as the Burmese, keep resupplying their army posts. And I found out that in this country there's so much more going on, it's just so much worth it to dig in deeper and go back and just get the whole picture, try to get a idea of of the country as it is now. The third trip, that was about the religious conflict in the west of the country. I started going to a place called Sitwe, which is the capital of Rakhine State, where the biggest clashes took place. I visited the refugee camps there, which is quite a hassle. Everything in the country goes very slow. It's such a huge area. I was there in the wet season. It is awful. It's mud. It's just people live literally in the mud. They have huge problems with malaria there, especially in that rain season where there are so many mosquitoes. They are not allowed to go out at all. Nobody's allowed to get in, only with special permissions. Probably the worst thing about it is that nobody actually knows about it and nobody really is interested. I didn't meet any other journalists, or rarely, maybe one, but you will not find a lot about their situation in the media. And that's also, something that drives me to do these things, to keep on visiting these places. I was really nervous in the beginning. It was really hard to judge if it was safe or not. After 2-3 days, I kind of got the drive and idea that, they would take care of me and I could start to relax, but the first 2-3 days I was constantly under pressure. It was always, since I decided to become a photojournalist, that somehow these conflicts drew me. They were kind of in my head, but I never really had the chance or the experience or the guts to go to one of these places where you have to let it go a little bit. You're just depending on the rebels, on their movement and on what's happening, on the situation. People in Lisa, they're trying to live their normal life as always, as far that this is possible in that kind of situation. Just 2 weeks before I got there, there was an airstrike by the Burmese government, which killed a few people in the town. This picture is a picture of Kachin rebels at the funeral of one of their officers. In this kind of situation, you are really like an alien, you know, you don't belong there, and everybody knows that right away. But anyhow, I had the feeling that they liked me to be there, that they liked me to capture this moment. So I was really thankful to get the chance of capturing this really emotional, happy moment. I think as a journalist, as a photojournalist, you know, the highest goal more or less is to be neutral. Once you're there, once you start working, it's so hard. It's more or less impossible to stay neutral, you know. I know on what side I am more or less, but I'm still, you know, I'm not trying to photograph people in a, you know, in a negative way because they their ideas don't fit to mine. I'm just trying to, you know, take strong pictures, take good pictures, and you know, tell the story.